very official hometown of the famous movement. The famous Finnish writer Tove Jansson once said, "I love borders. Twilight is the border between day and night, and the shore is the border between sea and land. The border is longing when both have fallen in love but still haven't said anything. The border is to be on the way. It is the way that is the most important thing." We came to Helsinki to find our way to search for the lost treasure, the space to be with ourselves, the vitality that sustains the thing called life, most of all, the intuitive path towards a new inspiration, which would accompany our journey as we continue to progress to the idea of who we really want to be. Behind me, there is one of the most gorgeous religious edifices in Europe, and the whole square is one of the most magnificent architecture treasure. And on both sides of this huge white cathedral, there are two extremely well ornamented neoclassic buildings, both of which have this gorgeous Doric column. Helsinki has always been trapped between the flamboyant contemplative East and the pragmatic libertarian West. When Finland was part of Sweden, many brave Finnish soldiers were forced to participate in all kinds of whimsical Swedish invasions in Central Europe in the 30 Years' War. As Peter the Great began to reform Russia from a feudal society to a modern European nation, its dream of becoming the new Constantinople pushed the expansion westwards. In the beginning of the 19th century, Finland became the autonomous Grand Duchy of the Russian Empire. As the sophisticated neoclassic architecture style swept across the entire European continent, a number of impressive, huge edifices began to construct in Helsinki, many of which was under the supervision of the German architecture Ludwig Engel. To view the city from a ferry is a favorite experience as we went between the city and the sea fortress Sveaborg. After a very, very pleasant ferry trip, we have arrived to Sveaborg. It's also called the Sommelinen in Finnish, and this is actually a UNESCO World Cultural Heritage here in Helsinki. This huge fortress complex was first founded by the Swedish government. The construction began year 1748, when the threat from the Russian Empire became gradually severe as the capital city changed from Moscow to St. Petersburg, which is a coastal town upon the shore of the Gulf of Finland. A number of impressive Finnish fortresses upon the east front lines were defeated by the Russian troops. The Swedish government hoped that this fortress could function as a glowing and impregnable beacon, aspiring young and tenacious soldiers in the strongest divisions of the fleet to fight fervently. However, the reality caught up such a sagacious thought. As the war advanced, this fortress became a symbol of treachery and shameful subserviences. In the beginning of the 19th century, it belonged to the Russian Tsar Alexander. This is such a remarkable building in comparison with the concrete bunker which Hitler and his boys used. This looks like a giant, and today it still feels very, very special to be in such a great edifice. The very, very, very thick walls reminds me that the war is not only brutal, it's about hurting people you never met, hating the same kind of ideology you really don't understand what that is. Finland was a remarkable nation during the Cold War. As Soviet Union's closest neighbor, the fear was constantly present. A as Moscow continued to increase their military budget and openly exercise their military forces. A Friendship, Cooperation and Mutual Assistance Pact was signed in 1948. Thereafter, the Finnish foreign policy was often interfered by Moscow, despite Finland's official neutral positions. Many of the most fascinating tourist attractions upon this island testify the bleak atmosphere before the Baltic states become independent, when very few people could predict the future of Europe and the rest of the world, and mutual condemnation continued. This is the star attraction of this beautiful island Sveaborg, and this is a real submarine which was used a long time ago. And follow me, let's show you the secretive life inside this tiny space. Look at this. This is the real weapon in the submarine, and this is a torpedo. And just look at the shape of the propulsor. And the submarine is presumably operated with a combustion engine, and the propulsor just rotates very, very fast in different depths in the shallow water between the Finland coast and the Swedish coast. Submarine is by all means a secretive vehicle, and safety on board is the most respected paramount. Sailors must rely upon each other's ability to act adequately in various dangerous situations. The sailor's life in a submarine is often repetitive and stressful. Very few sailors have a private sphere. The absolute isolation from the world outside, without any possibilities to communicate with family or friends, is a harsh social challenge for most of us. All shipmates on board need to entertain each other when they face both up and downs. Sailors in such an environment often forge a lifelong friendship, which is based upon this unique experience. The peaceful and glistening sea, which has witnessed both the atrocities of the war and the jubilations of the temporary peace, never ceases to move itself. The laced foams upon the surface follows the motion of the sea waves towards an unidentified directions. The charm of the nature is both its harmony and whimsicality, unveiling the ups and downs of this small island through history retrospectively. The prevailing tense atmosphere and the peaceful leisure mode intervening with each other, aiming to form a new idea of what we want. Also why we still need to scrutinize who we are and who we defend in a dispute. Also why we sympathize certain ideas fervently. This is a wonderful surprise in this island, and there's a very nice small gallery with a number of immensely well-made Rothko-inspired modern abstract art. Just look at this. It almost feels like that the heaven, the color pink, that molded together with the treacherous coast, and it reminds me of the kind of beauty which once was associated with the Transfiguration in, for instance, Raphael's paintings, and this is just absolutely gorgeous. The brutality of wars between the East and the West looms in the background, as long as the dream of transforming Moscow into the new Constantinople persists. As the closest neighbor to the Russian Federation, the idea of self-reliance is as important as ever. in Jean Sibelius' youth, he articulated the following advice to the young musicians: never pay any attention to what critics say. Remember, a statue has never been set up in honor of a critic. For us, following our own ideals unapologetically, despite the prevailing popular trends, it's our own path towards the legendary redemptions. This beautiful day comes to its end, and we're back to this beautiful ferry again on our way back home to Stockholm. What a tremendously wonderful place, and we're so thrilled to be able to visit the pearl of Scandinavia once again in this very, very beautiful autumn day.